This route is the perfect example of why low-cost carriers are so important. Hi there, my name is Kevin and I make honest, unsponsored, and to-the-point narrated trip reports about flights and hotels all over the world. This is episode 113 and today we're flying economy with Vietnam Airlines from Saigon to Jakarta. The full experience begins in 10 seconds. Welcome to Saigon, which is the largest hub of home carrier Vietnam Airlines. If you'd like to know the exact fare that I paid, my next 5 videos in queue, or want to check out the gear that I use on a daily basis, please check out the description below. Because of my Elite Plus status from ITA, I was able to check in as SkyPriority today and later on access the Vietnam Airlines Lotus lounge. Check-in was quick and easy, unlike the immigration line, which was by far the longest that I've seen since way before COVID. Another thing that is also quick and easy though is showing your support for honest content on this channel by giving this video a big thumbs up and subscribing with notifications so you don't miss any of my twice weekly videos. There are also many ways to support the channel in the description below. A big thank you in advance. As we head to the lounge, let's touch on the airline's operation here. With an average of 133 daily departures next month, Saigon is by far Vietnam Airlines' largest hub, compared to their next largest, Hanoi, with just 83 daily departures. Keep in mind that up to 50 of those per day are just between Saigon and Hanoi. In the opening, I mentioned that this route is the perfect example of why low-cost carriers are so important, and it's all about the price. This flight today cost me $269, which might not seem like a lot depending on where in the world you are, but in this area, it's borderline exorbitant, and the only reason that Vietnam Airlines can get away with this is because they, for years, have had no competition, except for a brief time before COVID. Considering Indonesia has a population of 275 million and Vietnam almost 100 million, it has always kind of boggled my mind a bit as to how few and far in between the links between these two countries are. There are currently only 3 or 4 daily flights between the countries. For a bit of perspective, from Saigon, there are up to 14 daily flights to Bangkok with fares regularly under $60, up to 9 flights a day to Singapore with fares starting under $50, and even up to 8 flights per day to Seoul with fares just under $100. Without the likes of Vietjet, AirAsia, Scoot, Nok Air, T-Way Air, and many more, these routes would all likely cost as much or a lot more than my flight today. As with all lounges in Saigon, they're all nice enough and all offer near identical food and drink offerings, regardless of if you're in an airline lounge for Vietnam Airlines or a contract lounge. I've just grown so accustomed to them that sometimes I do forget that they're meant to actually compete with the likes of Malaysia Airlines Golden Lounge or even a Silvercrest Lounge in Singapore. In that case, yeah, the lounges here are crap, but they're clean, comfortable, and always have good apron views, so for me, they're fine. Boarding was set to begin more or less on time from gate 19. One thing I like about VNA's app is that even after check-in, you're able to use the modify seat function. Now, I'm pretty sure that if you actually attempted to change your seat, you wouldn't be able to, but it's the best way to preview how full your flight will be. Since many regional flights are filled up with last-minute local tour groups, the seat map will appear near empty for weeks leading up to your flight, even on websites like Expert Flyer. Let's take a look at today's flight stats. We'd be taking off just a few minutes late before heading up to 35,000 feet for our due south 2.5-hour journey to Jakarta, where we'd land almost a half hour early. Unlike their low-cost competitors, VNA generally doesn't nitpick too much with the carry-on bag weight. That means though that you're going to want to get on board as early as possible if you need overhead bin space, or you risk your bag being smushed, crammed, and contorted into every single remaining square inch, which seems to be a specialty of Vietnamese flight attendants throughout the country. Today, we'd be on a 9-year-old Airbus A321, with the oldest of the 4 current configurations that you may encounter. As the configurations are frequently swapped in and out, pay close attention to the seat map at the time of booking if you're looking for an extra legroom seat, and then keep an eye on the aircraft through their apps as your flight date approaches. The flight attendants, dressed in their iconic ao dais, are friendly as always and more than happy to give you a mask should you forget yours. While Vietnam relaxed its mask regulations on September 8th for some public spaces, they are still very much required on public transport of any kind. Surely trying to evoke visions of wealth surrounded by golden finishes, the less than vibrant beige interiors do leave a little bit to be desired. But the trade-off is that these are still old school seats that actually have a bit of real padding. I was in 18 Alpha today, which is a bog standard seat, which I'm happy to use on Vietnam Airlines as their seat pitch is generally at least 31 inches. The cabin was in remarkably good condition considering they haven't installed this interior in almost a decade. Everything from the seat covers to the seat belts, overhead units, all in like new shape. Alcohol wipes were handed out, and the highlight of any Vietnam Airlines flight came when the flight attendants diligently remind you not to use them on your face. Pushback came as I looked at the sad Thai Smile A320 in the distance. Even before COVID, Thai suspended their daily wide-body flights into Saigon, which I used to love taking. A short taxi took us to our departure runway. If you enjoy takeoff and landing views, make sure to always sit on the left side, the Alpha seats, when traveling to or from Saigon. Very safe to say that 90% of the time, that will give you the best views as the approach patterns are not frequently reversed. While Jakarta is literally due south of Saigon, we would be going a bit out of our way today, I believe to avoid parts of the always congested Singaporean airspace. The spool up and takeoff are next, and it is a beautiful and clear day, so I recommend you stick around for the views of the Mekong Delta. Next up, I was in for quite a nice surprise as lunch was passed out. On offer was a beef curry or a lemongrass fish with rice. And this beef curry was honestly the best tasting economy meal that I've had in years. Doesn't look like anything special, yeah, I know that, but my god, it was really, really good. And of course, no meal in Vietnam is complete without an obligatory branded toothpick. If you've never been to this part of the world and have never seen what flying into air pollution chowder looks like, then you're in for a treat today. Quite amazing how it all just sits there, engulfing Jakarta, hidden from all the beautiful blue sky above. And yes, I'm well aware that this is not just a Jakarta problem, just rare for me to see it outlined so clearly from the air. You can barely make it out with the smog, but we were soon on a parallel approach with a Lion Air 737. We landed and took our tour of the airport as we made our way past the golf course, which is entirely within the airport. Because what would an airport in the developing world be without a private golf course? Saigon has one too. Despite the litany of open and more convenient gates, we parked just about as far away as possible and made our way on the 10 or 15 minute walk to immigration. One thing to note if you're flying into Jakarta soon, while Bali does take credit cards for their landing visas, which are required for just about everyone these days, Jakarta conveniently does not. They accept multiple foreign currencies, but of course that comes with a crap exchange rate. Alright, as we head into the flip-flop score, what are we thinking? To be honest, it was a great little flight, made all the better with SkyPriority benefits and a tasty meal. But if you want the benefits of this non-stop service, just make sure you're ready to pay up for it. The biggest downside of the flight today is probably the lack of in-flight entertainment, but at this point, I do believe that the majority of the Airbus A321s have IFE, so today was just an unlucky aircraft assignment. I hope that you did enjoy today's video and found it helpful. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for new weekly content. I'll see you next time from the Four Seasons in Jakarta.